I keep finding myself in closeted or semi-closeted relationships, quasi-closeted, I don't even know what to call them. It was me being hidden. It was me feeling like I was constantly hidden in this relationship by someone who promised they were ready to be out. And maybe I shouldn't have entertained that promise as much as I did.
Kung may tanong kayo tungkol sa love, sex, or relationships, i-share niyo lang dito sa Share Ko Lang. You may also follow and subscribe to our social media pages. So I'm curious, you did mention learning some things. So what have you learned about yourself throughout all your dating experience?
I definitely have 3 non-negotiables I found myself in. 1, someone who's out. I can't date someone who's closeted. So either you're coming out within like a relatively short amount of time or like I just can't do it. 2nd, I can't do long distance because that's why my previous relationship didn't work out. 3, I want to have kids one day. So if you're not down, like this ain't gonna work. It's just one of those things where if they don't want, they know flat out they don't want it, then I don't want to start investing emotions and set myself up for disappointment. So those 3 things.
The first one that you mentioned, kailangan out sila. So this is something I'm curious about, right? Because I know that a lot of people, they have to deal with this. Kasi syempre, hindi naman natin pinipili, right, who we love. And sometimes, despite our best efforts, diba, we get attracted, we're in love with people na who hasn't gone through that process yet or is not in that ready stage. So how do you deal with people na hindi pa out? Or what would you do if you end up falling in love with someone na hindi pa completely open and honest to themselves and to their loved ones?
Yeah, so I mean, I have been closeted for most of my life. I didn't come out fully until I was 23. So I know that it's not easy and I know that it's hard. That said, just because it is delicate doesn't mean that you can't be adamant about what you want in a relationship. So I just know that in my case, I kind of have known for years that it's easier to date someone who's out, but I guess when you meet someone, sometimes you just kind of give in to, you're like, well, you justify things to make a relationship work. So I think I just want to, if there are people out there, I guess they both have to understand you're asking a lot of somebody when you're asking someone to go back into the closet for you. And to understand that that's not always fair. And it's hard because, of course, being in the closet is its own cruel cage in a way. So it's really hard to just to feel like you're the one that's rejecting someone. But I mean, you just like in a relationship, you have to look, I think you have to find what's best for you. What's the most healthy and loving relationship you can find for yourself. So I think you owe it to yourself to be careful about putting yourself in situations that are going to be emotionally damaging down the road.
I can tell that you're trying, really hard to be understanding.
Trying.
Right? Of people who are nasa ibang lugar in that process. And when it comes to readiness, lalo na related to coming out, right? I think a lot of people would think, sige, basta mahal niya ako, mahal ko siya, it will work out, right? And the thing is, and this is a no-blame game, right? So, ang readiness, especially in coming out, it's a journey that a person has to go through themselves. Diba? Sabi mo nga, we can't push them to go any faster. In the same way that nobody should push you back in the closet also. That's the challenge. So we're not saying na don't do those kinds of relationships. And, di ba, if you're papasok tayo sa ganang relationship, understand that that process will not go faster just because we want it to. When we think about, kanina we talked about, dating when someone's in the closet, etc. And parang acceptance seems to be a big theme, right? In a gay relationship or in an LGBT relationship. And I was thinking of even at least 3 layers, no? So parang how we accept ourselves. So parang sarili muna natin. And then how we accept each other. So that's why we talked about the lifestyle differences, etc. As a couple unit. And then of course, right, yung acceptance ng pamilya, ng society. So, parang ang daming extra challenges. Kasi hindi lang internal eh. It's not just even about the couple, di ba? Parang you can't, suddenly even society and other people are trying to stake a claim in your relationship. So, gosh, what are your thoughts about acceptance?
In terms of, go back to your question, definitely want to start with yourself when it comes to acceptance. You want to make sure that you are able to have accepted yourself enough that you can accept somebody else and their place in your life. And in terms of society, I think that's the collective effort of our LGBT community to try to fight for more acceptance from society. And I'm really happy to have been a part of that in the Philippines, I think like 5 years. Yung first Pride ko sa Pilipinas siguro noong 2014 or 2015, yung una kong Pride. And I remember whichever one it was, I think it was like just under 1,000 people, I think, in the Philippines, of people who are happy with who they are and people who are coming out as allies to support the LGBT community, which is also great, amazing, much appreciated. So yeah, acceptance in society has come a long way. And I think as hard as it is to sometimes accept ourselves in the beginning, if you look at our history, we've come so far, and there's a lot to be happy about as well.
So, would you ever date someone who has everything you want in a partner? Parang lahat na, but in 1, 2, and 3, yung 1, 2, and 3 mo nandun, right? However, but the but is the family disapproves. His family disapproves. Would you do it? Would you work with it? What would you do?
I think it depends. If he was someone who I'm leaning toward, like, in the beginning that might be a red flag. So if I know about that in the beginning, I'm maybe not. But if it's clear to me that the family would not dictate decisions, important parts of our lives, then maybe it would be okay. Like, for example, if he's out of the closet, then presumably he would not allow his family to make us feel like we have to go back into the closet. But if the family controls his life, to the point where I feel like I'm going back into the closet, and then maybe then for sure I would not be happy, and I would probably not allow myself to be in that relationship.
You always have to look at the family. It's not enough that 2 people love each other, right? So it's really parang maganda sana, ideal. This is a relationship worth fighting for. If the partner realizes this is not your fight to fight, that it's unfair to put it on the other person. Pamilya niya, right? And then he has to deal with it. And he, as you said, he has to make sure, diba? He has to protect the relationship and the partner, the integrity of the people involved. So I'm asking, where are you at now when it comes to love?
Where I am in love, I am no longer single. I can say that. So I happen to be taking my time with somebody. So I would say I'm actually in a good place. I'd like to think pretty healthy, much healthier place than I have been in past relationships.
So it sounds like you're sort of starting something new. It sounds like you're feeling like, okay, this is a healthy start. Given all the experiences that you've had so far, I'm curious, like, what shapes the way that you love and experience love?
I think out of every relationship, I have learned a little bit, one, more about myself and maybe more about what I want, even what you don't want. I think that's the way for most people. So I don't really I don't believe in like looking at past relationships with resentment or anger. I think people are just, on their own path, looking for the right person that's meant to join them along the ride. So yeah, I think pagdating sa relationship na to, yung current relationship, I think I gave myself nearly half a year of being single, which I think was really good, where I could just focus on me, stability in many different respects, probably more so just being happy with who I am by myself.
And really, thank you for bringing that up, kasi that's actually a very common myth, diba? That the partner, the other person, kailangan sila ang magko-complete sa'yo. And it's so important na we have to be buo or complete, right? Before actually being ready to be in a relationship. So yung sinasabi mong you took a break, I think 6 months of no dating, that's actually something I literally advise. I prescribe, put it on paper for my clients. Like, no dating muna, ban. You have to come to me before I can tell you you're ready. Kasi diba, pag sinusulat ko, it looks legit. So they will actually follow. So dating detox sa akin is very, very healthy. Because if you jump from one relationship to the next and you're still hurting, diba? May ego injury pa, may attachment, trust issues, you're coming from a very hurt place, dinadala mo rin yan sa next relationship. Who are you in the past? At sino ka ngayon?
I think Seb in the past was more wild, less thoughtful, certainly had to make a few mistakes along the way, but he learned. And I think Seb now is a little bit more cautious, bides his time. He's not in a rush, and he would rather wait for the right person than just rush into something that's in front of him.
Pwede mong tanggapin ang kalagayan ng iyong partner. Hindi ibig sabihin, kailangan mo laging magtiis. Ang totoong acceptance ay ang pagtanggap kung sino sila at kung ano ang kaya nilang ibigay. At ang pagtanggap kung sino ka at ano ang kailangan mo sa isang relasyon.
Kung gusto niyo ng kausap sa love, sa sex, o kaya sa relationships, i-share niyo lang sa amin dito sa Share Ko Lang.